Here are my predictions for UFC 287, Adesanya versus Pereira 2. First fight, we have Sam Hughes versus Jacqueline Amarin. I don't know exactly how to say that. I'm not too good at predicting women's MMA, but from what I've seen, I'm going to have to go with Jacqueline. I think the fact that Sam Hughes likes to rely on her ground game is going to feed right into Jacqueline's hands. Jacqueline, obviously, if you look at just her record and then watch her fights, she's looking for the takedown, she's looking for top control, and she's looking for ground and pound to open up a submission. Sam Hughes had that tough fight, I believe, with Tisha Torres, where she basically got destroyed in one round, but that was her UFC debut, and that's a tough debut. But I've just seen her fight, and she will stand and strike, and she's got some decent striking, but her game relies on her being able to take the opponent down, or at least dominate the clinch. And even though Jacqueline hasn't fought the toughest competition, I think she will be able to get some offensive grappling. And even if she doesn't submit Sam Hughes, I still think she's gonna have like an easier time getting her down and like controlling her, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go Jacqueline Amarim, but I'm gonna go by submission. I'm gonna go first round submission because it seems to be the classic way she wins. So yeah, I'm going Jacqueline Amarim by submission. Next fight up the card, we got Steve Garcia versus Shalian Nurdanbeke, fucking A. I'll just call him Shalian. But I'm going to go with him in this fight. Steve Garcia is a live underdog just because every time he fights, he's going to throw power shots at you, and he's going to go in there and really try to take you out. And I think that can give Shalian some problems because Shalian has big power, but he's not the fastest guy, and he's not the most technical, but he will counter over the top. But Steve Garcia, man, he comes with these wide hooks, and he's only been knocked out one time. But Shalian also has some decent top game. I'm just going to trust in the power and physicality of Shalian. But man, I'm thinking Steve Garcia has a big shot here. So I'm going to go with the favorite, Shalian, but don't base your picks off of this because this is going to be probably a pretty stand-up oriented affair. And both guys are similar in stature, even though Shalian's a little bit more bricked up. Steve Garcia is faster, in my opinion. So yeah, that's a close one, but I'm going to go Shalian. But I wouldn't be surprised if Steve Garcia catches him on the chin and hurts him. But anyways, moving on. So we got Trey Ogden versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This is a little weird fight, honestly, because Trey Ogden just fought Daniel Zellhuber, who has not a similar game to Bahamondes, but a similar size to Bahamondes. And Trey Ogden was doing a pretty good job of staying safe, staying on the outside, using his inside low kicks and using his check hook and just moving. And the only thing I don't really like about Ogden's style is he rarely, he rarely throws combinations. And I think if he did that, it would help him with his outside movement, but whatever. I still think he's a really good fighter. Going up against Bahamondes, though, I think Bahamondes is going to be less apprehensive than Daniel Zellhuber. So I think he'll be able to find those shots on Trey Ogden, and he won't react as much to the feints and to the little tricky movement that Ogden does. Bahamondes was able to track down Roosevelt Roberts, who's a little taller and less durable than Trey Ogden. But all that considered, I think I'm just going to go Ignacio. I think I trust him to have the better moments in this fight, and if Trey Ogden goes for takedowns, I think Ignacio should be able to neutralize the ground and keep it standing and just pick at Ogden from range. But I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Ogden, again, these are weird fights. I wouldn't be surprised if Ogden makes it a tedious kind of like fight where Bahamondes can't track him down, but I don't see that coming. So I'm going with Ignacio Bahamondes, but I'm going to go by decision. I think it's going to be a competitive fight, but yeah, I have faith in him. Now this is a fight, the next fight, Cynthia Calvillo versus Lupita Godinez. I'm going another favorite, I'm going Lupita. For me, Cynthia Calvillo has just not looked like she's in there 100% anymore. Her game has pretty much stalled Um, her striking has been the same. You know, she has the 1-2, and she stands straight up, and then she backs herself to the cage. And Lupita is going to be super aggressive with the wrestling, with good boxing. I think this is a really bad matchup for Cynthia, to be honest. Unless Cynthia shows me something that I have not seen in the last 4 or 5 fights. I'm gonna have to go Lupita Godinez. I think this is probably one of my more confident ones, but it's women's MMA, so please don't hate me. Actually, yeah, call me an idiot if I get it wrong. But yeah, I'm going Lupita Godinez. I think the wrestling, the striking, everything combined, and the pressure is going to be enough to break Cynthia Calvillo. So I'm going to go Lupita Godinez by split decision because it's women's MMA. But yeah, I'm going Lupi. Next fight up the card is Gerald Meerschaert versus Joseph Pyfer. I can see why people are picking Pyfer because he's got big power and he's pretty damn durable. But I feel like GM3 is the better striker and he's a better all-around fighter. The only reason I think you would pick Pyfer over GM3 is because GM3 got KO'd by Ian Heinisch, got KO'd by Hamzat, and the thing they both have in common with Joseph Pyfer is their big right hand. And that just seems to be something that Meerschaert can be caught with. But Pyfer is literally just a right hand and a check left hook. He doesn't throw in combinations. He doesn't have the most clever setups. He's just an insanely durable, tough guy who will consistently march you down and look for like a big punch. And he's got that power, so it's really worked out for him. And I'm going to go with the underdog, though. I'm going to go GM3, Gerald Meerschaert. I think he might get caught at some point, but I don't think Pfeiffer's got that high-level finishing ability to take out someone like Gerald, who's, you know, he's tricky. He'll go to the ground, he'll go to his back, he'll sweep you, he'll submit you, he's got a lot of tricks. He'll body kick you from the outside and just keep moving. And I think if Gerald stays on his bike, he can actually hurt Pfeiffer coming in recklessly because Pfeiffer comes in with his chin straight in the air. So I'm going with Gerald Meerschaert here. I'm going to go by second round submission. I think he might hurt Pfeiffer and then get on him for a rear naked choke. But I think a decision is probably the most likely. And if you're betting Joseph Pfeiffer, obviously bet on the knockout. I mean, why not? Put a couple bucks on it because if he's going to win, I feel like that's how he's going to have to win. And I think history proves that with him. But imagine they go to a tedious unanimous decision. Yeah, that would be stupid. Anyways, next fight. You have Carl Williams. Oh, snap. So this is a new one. So Carl Williams replacing Chris Barnett, I believe. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to have to go Carl Williams here. I was going to go Chase Sherman versus Chris Barnett. But Carl Williams is actually a really good athlete. And I believe he's the wrestler, right? Let me see. Yeah, decision, punches, decision. Yeah, exactly. So I think Carl Williams, I didn't even have any research to do on this. Damn. Chase Sherman, though, he likes to throw combinations, move on the outside, throw leg kicks, occasionally clinch. He's not the best in the clinch, but he's not bad in it. He's got some good knees, some good elbows. So honestly, Chase Sherman has a good shot here because Carl Williams is taking it on short notice. But that wrestling style, I haven't been blown away by Sherman's takedown defense. Not like I've seen him just get mauled over and over, but I think I'm going to have to go Carl Williams by decision. I think the takedowns, the striking's not great, but the takedowns, the athleticism, the cardio, I think that's going to drive Carl Williams to the win. So I'm going to go Carl Williams by unanimous decision. All right, Michelle Waterson-Gomez versus Luan Pinheiro. I do not have a good read on this fight because Waterson, for me, I guess I just never have been able to accurately gauge what she likes to do because sometimes she likes to wrestle, sometimes she likes to throw, crazy kicks. But it's just tough to pick her because she doesn't finish and she doesn't really I don't know. It's just her style is just very inconsistent. And it's just, I guess for me personally, it doesn't really make sense to me. But it's good, obviously. She wins a lot of fights. She's still in the UFC. But yeah, this is a weird one. And Luana Pinheiro, she's a little younger. She's just not as experienced. And she's just kind of like well-rounded, but a striker. So I can see Michelle Waterson winning this fight by just making it a boring fight, lack of better words, where she stays on the outside, throws kicks, side kicks, and then when Luana tries to combination on her, she just grabs the clinch and goes for takedowns. So all that being said, I guess I have to pick Michelle Waterson. Damn. Because I think the wrestling is going to help. But honestly, guys, this fight was so weird. I don't even know how to predict it. So if you're going to bet it, I would not recommend that. But just bet on it going to decision. I think that's fair. Okay, moving on to the featured prelim in the 185-pound division. And this is going to be a banger. We got Kelvin Gastelum versus Chris Curtis. Now, the odds are near even, and I can see why, man. Chris Curtis, southpaw, Kelvin Gastelum, southpaw, so it takes away the tricks of the southpaw. But what it does do is it gives us probably just a straight firefight, where I imagine Kelvin Gastelum is going to try to bring some takedowns into it. But Chris Curtis is a great wrestler. He's like one of these tree stump ass dudes where they touch his legs and he's just strong. Chris Curtis likes to wait and counter. He's got big left hand, a big right hook. He can be offensive. When he knocked out Brendan Allen, it was still a counter, but it was an offensive counter. But Curtis has trouble with movement and people that move side to side. So if Kelvin comes into here with a more mobile game plan, I think he's faster than Curtis. I don't think he hits as hard, but I think since Chris Curtis relies on knockouts, and doesn't rely on knockouts, he won a decision against a lot of people, actually. He's won a lot of decisions, but the fact that he likes to wait and bide his time and land one big shot against Kelvin Gastelum, that's going to be it's going to be risky because Kelvin, he gets dropped, but the dude's chin is insane. Like, he recovers immediately. So I don't know if just waiting to knock Kelvin out is a good way to do it. But Chris Curtis is in the zone right now, and he's in his career best, and Kelvin's been going downhill. But I'm going to trust Kelvin Gastelum to pick at Curtis and to just outwork him. And I can see Curtis being pretty annoyed by the end of this. But the thing with Gastelum is he doesn't typically use outside movement. He bounces, and then he bounces straight in. And that's been his game. He moves his head well, but that's been his game. So I'm still going to trust him, but this is a crazy fight. And also Chris Curtis likes to block a lot, and I think Gastelum can keep him in that shell and use his speed and his clinch and takedowns to neutralize the offense from Curtis. So I'm going to go Kelvin Gastelum, and I'm going to go by unanimous decision. That's going to be a good one, in my opinion. All right, Raul Rosas Jr. versus Christian Rodriguez. This should be a pretty fun fight. Christian Rodriguez is actually a pretty good fighter. He's young, he's tough, and he's super scrappy. But the fact that he was pretty, he was handled by Jonathan Pierce, and the fact that Raul Rosas Jr. has the same style, take you down, smash you, and submit you. Although Pearson is more grounded pound. The thing is Rodriguez is probably better on the feet from what I've seen. We'll see how they match up. He seems to be a little cleaner, more polished. But that being said, I think the grappling, again, is just going to... I think the grappling from Raul Rosas Jr., his shots are so quick. He's ahead of every scramble. For a young man, like, his grappling is crazy. So I'm going to have to go Raul Rosas Jr., out-grappling Christian Rodriguez and getting a second-round submission. Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. God, man, these are some weird fights. Kevin Holland should win this one, though. Because Kevin Holland has always done well with people who are just trying to box with him. Even Jeff Neal, all these big hitters that Kevin Holland has fought, he's actually done pretty well against him. Let me look at his record and see if there's some big right-handed hitters. We got, Hamza, big right-hand hitter. lost that as a choke, obviously. Tim Means, Alex Oliveira, big hitter. Joaquin Buckley, Darren Stewart. Yeah, and Joaquin Buckley is a similar build to Santiago Ponzinibbio. And the fact that Ponzinibbio likes to use his jab to set up his right hand, and lately he's been just kind of winging a lot more shots than he ever used to. He used to be super clean with that 1-2, and you kind of saw that at the end of the Alex Morono fight. That looked like classic Ponzi, just clean 1-2 on the chin and hurt him bad, and then knocked him out not too long after. But before that, he was struggling. He was struggling. You know what I mean? Damn, my screensaver is a trip right now. But I'm gonna have to go Kevin Holland. I think the way he's been fighting lately, and he's been just spamming hard shots, I don't think Santiago can take them. But I wouldn't be surprised if Santiago Ponzinibbio actually tries to grapple Kevin Holland. But I think at this point in their career, Kevin Holland is the smarter pick. I can see him jabbing and kicking Ponzinibbio from the outside and then just spamming in with like wild hooks and hurting Ponzinibbio bad and then getting a choke. So I'm going to go Kevin Holland by submission, club and sub. But we'll see. I could get a lot of these wrong, but I think I'm picking a lot of favorites, which kind of sucks. Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez is the next fight. Yeah, it's hard to go against Adrian Yanez right now. He's just got really good defense for boxing, and his counters and his power, and his record. Like, he's experienced. He comes back from stuff. He had a tough round with Davey Grant. He had a tough round with Randy Costa, and the dude never gives up. He's in there, and he's going to be consistent the whole time. That's the thing. He's going to do the same thing. And that's kind of how Rob Font is as well. Really intensity, high output, but he'll do the same thing. He'll consistently, even if he gets hurt, he got hurt all through Cheeto's fight and through the Aldo fight. And when he got back to fighting, he was basically just doing the same thing. He's just moving, still the same attacks. Like, they're just both guys are super well trained. And I don't want to let the last two losses of Rob Font color it, but it is tough to see someone doing so good and then just one shot takes the fight away from him in like multiple times. He's been dropped like 8 times in his last 5-10 rounds. So it's going to be, if you're picking Rob Font, like, I salute you because you got faith. And I do have faith that he's still a good fighter. I just think matchup wise, I don't know if he's going to be able to avoid the shots. Like, I feel like he's going to outbox Adrian Yanez for long periods, but he's going to run into a counter. He leaves himself there. He's so risky and he's so offensive that he gets surprised by big punches. Even Munoz, who's way slower than Rob Font, was able to catch him off guard. And so I'm just going to have to go Adrian Yanez. I don't think he's going to be the first one to knock Rob Font out, but I see another Adrian Yanez close decision. I think Rob Font's going to have moments for sure. I don't think this is going to be a wash. So I'm going Adrian Yanez by unanimous decision. And the co-main event of the evening is Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. Now, normally I'd be picking Jorge Masvidal in a matchup like this, but I think the layoff and the knockout he had to Usman might come into play. Man, he should not be that much of an underdog, though. That's crazy. But the thing is that Colby Covington fight, I think Gilbert Burns can repeat that because he did the same thing to Tyron Woodley, which is heavy pressure, kicks from the outside, big punches, and then swinging big punches into the clinch, and then trying to take down Masvidal. Masvidal still has some of the best takedown defense in the game, but, you know, it's just been so long since he's fought, and his last fight was so demoralizing. Like, I don't know how it's going to feel if Burns is in there putting that pressure on him, not going away. And the other thing is Burns likes to throw that right hand, and if Jorge gets sloppy again, he can get caught doing that check hook. But if you think about, like, Jorge's best fights have been against similar opponents like Burns. He'll work his jab, he'll work his left kick to the body, he'll work his teeps, and his striking should be better than Burns. But I think the wrestling pressure, and Burns is just his pressure, basically. I think their pressure could be enough to edge out a decision. Do not be surprised if Masvidal knocks out Gilbert Burns straight up. Like Masvidal, yeah, I know a lot of people who don't like him because of the Colby stuff and just, a couple other reasons, but he is still one of the cleanest strikers we've had at welterweight. And so don't be surprised if he just smashes Burns and picks him apart, but I don't think so. I think Gilbert Burns is going to get a pretty clear decision. I don't see him finishing Masvidal. It might be similar to the Thompson fight. But yeah, I'm going Gilbert Burns. And the main event of the evening, we got Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira, 2 or 4, however you look at it. And, I picked Adesanya last time, but I'm going to pick Pereira, so that means Adesanya is probably going to win. I think Adesanya has more ways to win, if I'm being totally honest. He rocked Alex multiple times. Alex is a sucker for Israel's 1-2 over the top. And I think Israel can fight smarter and win this. But fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I'm going to go Alex Pereira. And I'm going to go by knockout, man. I don't think Izzy's going to take the shots better, He took pretty good shots in the last one, and then still, in the 5th round, he carries so much power, he was able to really rock him really badly. And I know he didn't get knocked out completely, but, when you're against the cage, staring at the ground, just waiting to get kneed, you're probably hurt. No, I'm not talking shit or anything, but he was obviously really hurt. Pereira's pressure, and I think the fact that now we know the grappling's probably not going to, Israel's probably not going to just dominate Alex grappling. He tried to wrestle Pereira, and Pereira made some of the worst wrestling mistakes I've ever seen, and still was able to not get that badly out-wrestled. So I'm going to go Alex Pereira by knockout, which means Israel Adesanya is probably going to win, so just go against that. But yeah, that's going to do it for today. I hope you guys like this new style of prediction videos. Like and subscribe, please. And yeah, I'll see you after the fights.